By 1991, she had achieved 21 top 10 hits in the United States and sold more than 70 million albums internationally. In January 2008, she was named the world's wealthiest female musician by Forbes magazine. Madonna is an icon. And because of that, today on Where Are They Now, we are going over the rise and what just might be the fall of one of the most successful pop stars in history. Madonna. If you told someone now that one of the biggest female musicians in pop history started completely from the bottom, they may not believe you. Rags to riches stories are rare and hard to come by, and Madonna's is probably one of the most successful and surprising of the bunch. All the way back in 1978, a 20-year-old Madonna moved from her home state of Michigan to New York City after dropping out of college with basically nothing to call her own to pursue a career in dance. Initially, she actually found herself involved with a couple of different bands, one of which being the ska-influenced pop-punk band Breakfast Club, with one of the band members being her then boyfriend, Dan Gilroy. Now through Dan, she had the opportunity to work as a showgirl in Paris, which is where she found her love for singing and performance. She had a few other bands like Madonna and the Sky, the Millionaires, and Emmy, which was her nickname. Now it wasn't until 1981 when the singer decided to go solo and hired Camille Barbone of Gotham Records as her manager. In 1982, Madonna released Everybody, her debut single, on October 6th, and it eventually hit #1 on the dance charts that same year. Following the success, in 1983 she released her self-titled album, which debuted at number 190 on the Billboard 200, eventually peaking at number 8 in 1984. Borderline also became Madonna's first top 10 single on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1983. In 1984, Madonna performed at her first ever MTV VMAs, singing Like a Virgin in a controversial performance that had her capture the attention of the world media, which worked out well for her, boosting Like a Virgin to become her first #1 single on the Hot 100 and #1 on the Billboard 200. This kind of started a pattern of Madonna using controversy for her own benefit. Nothing wrong with that. If it works, it works. In 1985, Madonna starred alongside Rosanna Arquette in Desperately Seeking Susan, which opened on March 29th of that year. Playing a carefree version of herself, Madonna's fashion in the film made a huge impression on pop culture, which again starts another trend for the singer becoming a fashion icon. In April of that same year, 1985, Madonna kicked off the Virgin Tour, her first North American tour, having the Beastie Boys of all people as her openers, which I love that. The Beastie Boys are so good. Madonna also started dating actor Sean Penn, who at the time was best known for his role in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, while filming the Material Girl video. They married on her birthday in 1985, and the two co-starred in the 1986 box office bomb Shanghai Surprise, produced by George Harrison. Unfortunately, she filed for divorce from Sean Penn in 1989, citing some differences that just could not be reconciled. Despite a marriage to director Guy Ritchie from 2000 to 2008, Madonna has always been more well known as a solo icon. She kind of outshines any other person she has actually been in a relationship with, which further proves her icon status. But anyways, back in 1986, Madonna's third album, True Blue, was dedicated to her then husband Sean Penn, named after her nickname for the actor. The 1986 album saw Madonna debut a more adult look, tackle more mature themes like teen pregnancy, and gave her 3 #1s on the Hot 100. These were Live to Tell, Papa Don't Preach, and Open Your Heart. The next year, in 1987, Madonna kicked off her first ever world tour, the Who's That Girl tour, which was an absolutely massive success, although it's both worth noting and absolutely hilarious to me that Pope John Paul II urged people to boycott the show in Italy. How dare a woman act so provocative? That was sarcasm. I don't actually think that. Cool. But speaking of which, in 1989, Madonna once again courted controversy with the release of her Like a Prayer music video, which featured her kissing a saint and dancing in front of burning crucifixes. Almost seems like a direct confrontation of the Pope attempting to boycott her show. As a result, and in response, the butthurt Vatican publicly condemned the video, and it additionally caused Pepsi to cancel their sponsorship contract with Madonna, neither of which seemed to matter since both the single and album of the same name hit #1. Now the next year, in 1990, Madonna struck up another bit of controversy and influenced pop culture when she took voguing from the gay underground to mainstream America with her #1 hit, Vogue, which came alongside an absolutely iconic music video which paid homage to classic Hollywood stars. In 1991, the documentary Truth or Dare, which followed and focused on her Blonde Ambition world tour, which included a show in our hometown of Toronto, where police reportedly threatened to arrest her if she did her usual thing and simulated, I don't know how to say this, solo fun times on stage. Madonna absolutely did it anyways, and guess what? Not a single arrest was made. Following this, in 1992, Madonna founded her entertainment company, Maverick, which included Maverick Records, one of the most successful artist-run labels in history. Her other ventures included fashion brands, written works, health clubs, and filmmaking. Speaking of written works, this same year Madonna released the coffee table book called Sex, alongside the artist's erotica album. The book featured some pretty spicy pictures, which you could probably imagine, but included some pretty big names of the time, including Vanilla Ice, Big Daddy Kane, Naomi Campbell, and Isabella Rossellini, all appearing in the book. This marked the peak of Madonna's transgressive period. While it was pretty negatively received at the time, some now consider it actually to be a key piece of post-feminist art, which is really cool. On March 31st, 1994, I think my favorite Madonna moment happened when she appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman. This crazy gal blurted out the F word about 14 times, she asked Letterman to smell her underwear after literally handing them to him, and told him money made you soft. Not only was it absolutely hilarious and incredibly awkward, for me at least, but it was the most censored network talk show appearance in history. Then, released in 1994, Madonna's bedtime story single Take a Bow hit #1 in 1995 and became her longest running Hot 100 chart topper, staying there for 7 weeks. In 1996, a little bit against her usual style, Madonna landed the lead part in the pretty seriously mature film Evita after playing the role for the stage on Broadway. For her part in the movie, she won her first ever Golden Globe for her performance. This was followed in 1998 with another addition to her seeming maturing as a person alongside Evita and becoming a mother. Madonna released her next album, Ray of Light, which went in a more techno direction compared to her previous albums, a theme that kind of stuck for her next album, Music, in 2000. A number of songs also reference Madonna's growing interest in Kabbalah, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. It is a part of Jewish tradition that deals with the essence of God, basically. And you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about any of that, and I will fully bow to your wisdom. Her album Music became her first #1 on the Billboard 200 since 1989, and the title track was her first #1 on the Hot 100 since Take a Bow. In 2003, Madonna courted controversy yet again when she performed alongside Britney Spears, Missy Elliott, and Christina Aguilera at the VMAs, almost 20 years since she performed at the very first one. But this was a big one for one very simple reason. Madonna shared a kiss with Britney and Christina that is still one of the most talked about moments in VMA history. Personally, I think it's just an easy way to cause controversy and boost up popularity, which is exactly what it did. 4 years later, in 2007, Madonna left Warner Bros., who had been her production company for years and years, and she started a $121 million 10-year deal with Live Nation instead. In 2008, alongside making her directorial debut with Filth and Wisdom, and the acclaim received for her historical drama, We, Madonna was officially inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 4 years later, and Madonna took the headlining role for the Super Bowl halftime show, which became the most watched halftime show up until that point in time. She performed alongside big artists from the time, including Nicki Minaj, CeeLo Green, LMFAO, and MIA, who caused controversy when she flipped the bird to conservative America and their families. Surprisingly, Madonna herself didn't actually cause any controversy. She just kept things pretty standard. Yeah. In 2014, Madonna performed at the 56th Grammys, singing Open Your Heart alongside Queen Latifah, who was not singing, but was instead officiating the marriage of a couple dozen gay and straight couples on live TV, which is one hell of a way to get married. It was awesome. The very next year, Madonna took to social media to promote her 13th album, Rebel Heart, featuring production work by Diplo and Kanye West and guest appearances from Nicki Minaj and Chance the Rapper, and announcing a worldwide tour alongside it. In 2019, Madonna released her 14th studio album, Madam X, which was inspired by her 2017 move to Lisbon, Portugal, and contained music influenced by Latin pop, art pop, and hip hop. Now, More recently, things have taken a bit of a turn for the musician, but instead of surrounding any of her work, this controversy came with changes made to her face. Madonna is well known for being almost a chameleon, changing her hair, makeup, and clothes in incredibly drastic ways. But this time, concern for the artist's well-being came about with some drastic plastic surgery. In 2022, the 63-year-old singer made a post to her Instagram that, while highly filtered, had her looking like she was about 16. The post focused around a biopic that she was working on, but no one seemed to care about that. Instead, people were a mix of concerned and supportive. If you look at a picture from just the year prior and one from her post, you would think they were two different people. Actually, she doesn't even look like a real person in the 2022 pictures. Some in the comment section called her a goddess, while some said, quote, "This is not her, she is completely different," or, quote, "Please show us your real face, so much better than this one." What's weirder is if that you look at her face and then you look at her arm, it's the face of a teenager on the body of a 63-year-old woman. Very strange. This was followed by Madonna posting some concerning half-naked TikToks, spreading awe and staring kinda eerily into the camera. But even more recently, Madonna took to the stage at the Grammys this year, presenting the Best Pop Duo Award to Sam Smith and Kim Petras for their hit Unholy. But again, people were not focused on the award, and more so concerned as Madonna was compared to a, quote, "jigsaw cosplay with alarmingly puffy, stretched out skin that looked as if it could fling off at any moment." When her fans began to criticize the artist and show their concern for Madonna's attempt to hold on to her youth, the artist clapped back, claiming that she was the victim of both misogyny and ageism, saying on Instagram that she was living in, quote, "a world that refuses to celebrate women past the age of 45 and feels the need to punish her if she continues to be strong-willed, hardworking, and adventurous," blaming her appearance on a long-lens camera that would, quote, "distort anyone's face," unquote. Now, whether this is true or if Madonna is really living in denial is up to you guys to decide. I personally believe that it's her body, so she can do with it as she pleases, but that doesn't mean she shouldn't expect criticism, and as one of the biggest and most controversial pop stars in history, she should kind of expect it, and I didn't think her reaction would be so defensive. But that is all I've got for the story of Madonna from her rise to what could be the beginning of her fall. This has been Where Are They Now? I'm Adam Andrews. Stay safe and well informed out there. I'll catch you on the flippy flop.